What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. We are approaching NBA free agency this weekend, and I'm going to split this episode into kind of two sections we're going to have in this. So to start things off, we are going to go over every second round pick and give a grade out for these. I obviously did my first round grades over on the Srosh channel, and yesterday's episode of the podcast, I did, in fact, kind of go over like the first 10-ish picks of the second round and give like an initial thought. And today I'm going to put a stamp grade on these, and then at the end of the episode we are going to go with kind of rapid fire NBA free agent predictions as well. So we honestly may as well hop right into this, and then we'll talk Bronny at the end of it. So Jonathan Mogbo, number 1 overall pick in the second round, 31st overall. I'm a big fan of Mogbo. Let me actually pull up my big board real quick. And I liked Mogbo. I didn't really know much about him until the draft combine, and then I got to see him in person, and I really liked his game. He was somebody that could pass well for a big man. He could drive inside. He can get back on defense, and he's going to actually not be like 5-footed. He's pretty athletic. I have him ranked 39th, and he went 31st. I am more than okay with that for the Toronto Raptors. I didn't love it just because there's some other guys on the board that I would have gone that we'll get into. So I'm just going to give it a B. Mogbo's going to have to figure out what he is in the NBA at 6'6", 220, but a big man. He can't shoot. There's going to be maybe a Tari Eason aspect, but can't shoot. Maybe somebody like that. We'll see what the Raptors think of him down the line, but he's a hustle guy, can do the dirty work, and I like that value for them. That's the Pistons pick that would have been, and that came from the Knicks in the Emmanuel Quickley trade, OG Anunoby trade. Shout out to Emmanuel Quickley getting a massive payday today. Kyle Filipowski goes number 32. I had Filipowski ranked 26th, and I thought this was really good value. I'm going to give it value-wise an A. This is somebody that should have won in the first round. I like his fit in Utah. They traded Kelly Olynyk last year at the deadline. They have a lot of big men, though, so he's going to have to get into that crowded room with Taylor Hendricks, who I'm high on, Walker Kessler, who should have a bounce-back year 3. Lauri Markkanen is still under contract right now. John Collins is still under contract right now. So he's going to have to work if he wants to get playing time. But I think just value alone, Filipowski's able to space the floor. He's able to do a little bit in the post as an offensive hub. He's got solid court vision. He can play make a little bit. I don't think he's going to be a good post defender in the league. And he goes 32. And I mentioned it on my other YouTube video stuff. The stuff going on with him is odd. So I'll break it down real quick if you don't know what's going on with him. Basically, from what my perspective was, I saw a tweet that was a screen recording of Jonathan Givony of ESPN on the Low Post, Zach Lowe's podcast, saying that apparently Filipowski was falling because of his girlfriend. And that's all he really mentioned, that she's older than him. And then they were like, what, huh? And then kind of people started digging into it. Once Twitter finds a hold of this, everyone turns into Sherlock Holmes and they go full FBI mode, checking Instagrams and trying to contact. I don't know. It's crazy how much people have time on their hands to do this stuff. But apparently, Kyle Filipowski, I don't know about the babysitter part, how true that is, but his girlfriend is 7 years older than him. I don't know if she was his babysitter growing up. People were saying that there's Instagram posts on that. And she went to his high school prom. So they were together back, I guess his high school prom, I think it was in 2018. And she was 7 years older. She was 24, 25 years old at a high schooler's prom. That's the age I am now. Think about that. Think about me as a 24-year-old at someone's high school prom. That would be red flag, calling the police. What the hell is going on here? I don't know where it happened. I don't know what's legal here, whatever it's happening, but it's some weird stuff. And then she's apparently Mormon. I didn't know what kind of grooming really was. Never really kind of got into that stuff, like learning about it. And then basically, she told him to cut off his family. They didn't really talk. Now, once again, I don't want to speculate that too much. But yeah, and of course, he gets drafted by the Utah Jazz, the home of the Mormons. It's a weird situation. I've never seen anything like it, and I kind of feel bad for him. But he's an NBA. He's 21 years old now. He's about to be a millionaire. I hope everything's all right with him, and he's a good player, and I hope he has a long career in the NBA. Tyler Smith goes 33 to the Milwaukee Bucks. Home run of a pick. I'm giving this A+. I would have taken Tyler Smith, according to my big board, I would have taken him 17th in the 2024 NBA draft. I like this pick 1,000 times more than the A.J. Johnson pick that they took at 23 at the end of the first round. Smith is definitely on the raw side too. He's not like 100% NBA ready, but he's way more NBA ready than AJ Johnson, and I think he has a higher ceiling than AJ Johnson as well. 6'9", I think can be a little bit 6'10"-ish, 220, good frame, good strength, good speed right now, great feel for the game for somebody of his age. In a dysfunctional environment like the Ignite, going to Milwaukee with some veterans that can get him involved. I mean, say what you want about Doc Rivers, but he'll at least put him into place what's going on in the Ignite. Now, I hate the Bucks and how they develop prospects over the last couple of years, but Tyler Smith is one of my favorite guys here, and the Bucks get him. I love this pick so much. Like I said, it's an A+, and I'm excited to see him next to Brook if he's still on the team. Excited to see him next to Bobby Portis, and obviously, hopefully, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then I can say that I was right to be high on Tyler Smith because I had him 17th and he goes 33rd, and then I'm like, all right, do NBA GMs not feel the same way I do? Obviously not, since he fell outside the first round. And yeah, I guess there's a lot of boomer bust to him that people are thinking of, but yeah, I think that's an A+ grade. Okay, so 41st, 34th. I think I said that in my YouTube video. 34th, Tyler Kolek going to the New York Knicks. A couple trades along the way. Yeah, I'm giving this an A+ as well. I love this. This is one of my favorite second round picks also. Tyler Kolek, higher up on my big board, 23rd, exactly what the Knicks need. Someone that can play 8 to 12 minutes a night, that can facilitate while Brunson's on the bench. There's going to be the dog days in February and March, and you're trying to rest up Brunson for the playoffs a little bit more. Kolek can be the guy that's not going to turn the ball over, that's going to get teammates involved, that's going to go downhill and get a bucket and is not scared of contact or getting to the rim, or doing a little bit of a risky move inside. And he's got a good floater. He's got a great three-point touch last year at Marquette. 4-year guy there. I think, is Tyler Kolek, I forget if he was the one from George Mason. I'm just gonna fact check that because I don't know why I thought and there's all the can't read stuff like those memes. Yeah, he was George Mason, A10 his freshman year in college basketball, and then spent the last 3 years at Marquette. He shot 39% from three. I got to see him at the combine. The dude is a beast, and I think this is a first-round talent. ESPN had him 25th. I had him 23rd, and the Knicks got him at 34th. Exactly what they need, A+. Johnny Furphy. I guess we're going to continue A+. If you had a first-round grade on me, so we'll just say top 30, you're probably going to get an A+ if you went in the second round. And Johnny Furphy was my 24th ranked prospect. He goes 35 here, technically to the Spurs, but gets traded to the Indiana Pacers. I don't know why the Spurs, I don't know like how this pick got traded, so I don't even know if they had a chance to make this pick or was already previously traded to Indiana. But Johnny Furphy would have been amazing next to Wemby because they could have gone one of the better spot-up shooters in this draft. Definitely going to have to develop, and in Indiana, there's no playing time for him. They're a deep team right now, trying to make it back to the conference finals, so he's probably not going to play much next year unless he really turns his defensive landscape around, and he's someone that can actually be a plus defender, which I don't think is going to come right away. He's going to have to get stronger. 6'8", 190. That is insane. He's skinny, going to have to put on weight, but I think could be a good shooter in this league for a long, long time. Juan Nunez goes to the Pacers here. Now this got traded to the Spurs. He's probably going to be a drafting stash. I'm going to give this, with the guys on the board, I'm going to give this a C+. I'm not the biggest Juan Nunez guy, but also going to put like a disclaimer, like compared to the rest of the college film and the top international guys, I didn't dig into Juan Nunez a ton. Game here and there. And what I'm watching, like, he's crafty with it. He is out there. He's got good vision, good b-ball IQ. He's creative inside. He can make his teammates better. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, like solid frame. And I think he has room for growth. And maybe in 2 to 3 years when he comes over, he's going to be a completely different prospect. But I'm a little bit lower on that pick than some of these other ones. But he's going to be maybe dishing it to Wemby soon. Bobby Clement going to the Timberwolves at 37. This is going to get an A-, an A for me, one of the two. I'm not going to give it an A+ because I didn't have a first-round grade on him, but I had him at 34. They got him at 37. I really like this. Like, if he went as high as, like, 20, I don't know. If he went to the Cavs, I would have been like, that's a little high. If he went to, like, the Knicks at 24, 25, totally could have saw that. He ends up going 37. Or is this to Minnesota or got traded? Oh, no, he got... I think he's a Piston. He's a Piston, right? Yeah, and he's someone that I think could buy on the defensive end of the floor right away for Detroit. He's going to have an inconsistent shot, and that seems what Detroit has. Plenty of good perimeter defenders. Asor Thompson, Ron Holland, Bobby Clement, not Quentin Grimes anymore because they traded him, but guys that can't shoot consistently. But Clement, I think, is a great talent for Detroit to get in. I think Trangelo Langdon probably fell in love with him, and they still don't even have a head coach yet, so I have no idea what system he's going to be in. AJ Mitchell going to the OKC Thunder at 38. I like this a ton. I'm going to give this a B+. I do believe Mitchell had a notable injury last year, and I got to see him at the combine. Like, I think he's got NBA ready handles. He's not going to turn the ball over. He was efficient. First guy getting drafted from UC Santa Barbara in quite some time. He missed a little bit of time last year, but I think he could be a good defender. I think he can run the second unit. I don't know where there's playing time once again, because you have Casey Wallace, Shea, Caruso, Topic in the second half of the year. Injuries will come, but yeah, I think it was I think it was a B+ pick. Good stuff there. Jalen Wells going to the Grizzlies at 39. I'm going to give this a C+ as well, like the Juan Unitas pick. I had, where did I have Wells? 68th. He was my 68th ranked prospect. Kind of skinny. Feel like he's kind of passive. Kind of a comp, like him and like Jackson Robinson from BYU. I forget where he transferred to. Was it Kentucky? I think it was Kentucky. Similar style. Like, I don't know if he's going to do much outside of just being a spot-up shooter in this league. And hey, if you get that in the second round, that is fine. But I just wonder what he's going to be creatively. Good three-point shooter, like he is. And he came from Sonoma State, which is really cool. Played at Washington State last year. But I don't really know if he's going to do much else outside of just get open looks. And hey, maybe that does come in... Where is he? This is Memphis, right? Yeah, maybe that does come in Memphis. But he's got a good size. Gonna have to put on weight, but not the worst pick in the world. Oso Ighodaro going to the Phoenix Suns. I know this got traded to Phoenix at 40. I'm gonna give this an A. I'm a big fan of Oso Ighodaro. I had him as my 33rd ranked prospect. He ends up going 40th here. Good court vision, good passing big man. Probably the best passing big man in this draft. I think needs to work on his strength inside on the defensive end of the floor, someone that's going to be or relied on to be a good post defender. Like, what if he's getting backup center minutes behind Yusuf Nurkic? This team in Phoenix is not deep, so there is a chance that is happening. So I hope that Oso Ighodaro gets to a good defensive summer and kind of shines out in the summer league. Adem Bona to the Sixers at 41. Hate to do this, but it's an A. I don't know. I don't hate Philadelphia. I just, like, from their fan base, like in round one, I just have still a little bit of a bad relationship with, but it'll come back. So Adem Bona, one of my favorite prospects that got drafted here. I would love if the Knicks took him at 24 and 25. That's how high I was on him. And Adem Bona was my 37th ranked prospect. You got him at 41. Like I said, this is going to be an A for me. This is probably the best backup five they've had in the Embiid era in quite some time. I'm more excited about him next year than I've ever had about Dwight Howard or Andre Drummond or Mo Bamba or even B-Ball Paul. I think Adem Bona is going to give a shit and he's going to try his ass off, and he actually makes me want to curse on this podcast because I love watching his game. KJ Simpson. Good pick. I'm going to give this a B. I think I would have gone with some other guys still on the board, but I do think KJ Simpson is going to be somebody that could be a solid backup point guard, a little bit on the smaller side. And I'm really excited to watch him in the summer league because I think he's going to be able to make his teammates better, like right away. I don't know if Tijon Salvan, I assume he's going to be playing in summer league. I don't know if he's got any games to finish up on, but I assume he's playing in the summer league. KJ Simpson, at the combine, these guys are just thrown together for the first times, and they're trying to impress these scouts. Like, they're playing like their careers depended on it, and it's very chaotic. A lot of turnovers, a lot of bad passes, a lot of bad shots. And KJ Simpson was the star of the combine games because he slowed the game down. He got his teammates involved. He didn't rush anything, took good shots. And I think that's what he's going to do throughout the summer in the summer league, where these guys have never really played with each other before. It's going to be their first couple games. It's going to be a lot of turnovers. These guys are young. They're trying to earn roster spots for the two-way guys, the second round guys. And I think KJ Simpson is going to be a really nice pickup. I don't know if he's going to get back up point guard minutes next year because you got Nick Smith, you got Trey Mann, obviously LaMelo Ball is there, but I'm a fan of the pick. I'll give it a B. Next up at number 43, Nikola Jurisic, going to, I believe, rerouted to the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to give this a B as well. I think this is the range where I thought Jurisic should have went. He was my 30th ranked prospect, and he may be a draft and stash. I don't know if he's going to play right away, but I do think that Jurisic is someone that's got good court vision, can finish at the rim. He believes he's a 3-level scorer. I'll believe it when I see the shot being that consistent enough, but he cares, he tries, and I think he could be a good player in this league as a rotational piece going forward. Pelle Larsson was somebody I was so back and forth with. He ended up being my 48th ranked prospect. He goes to the Heat here at 44. I'm going to give it a B-. I liked Larsson at the combine. I liked watching him at Arizona. And I think he's someone that's not going to turn the ball over, that's going to be a good shooter, that can get to the rim, that plays with like a passion, like a fire under him. And I think he could play in the league. And I think it makes me feel a little bit better that the Miami Heat liked him. Then I think, okay, this guy could be a Heat culture guy. He could fit in. He's been a really good free throw shooter throughout most of his career. I don't even remember him at Utah back in 2021. But yeah, he's someone that really shined for Arizona this past season, and he ends up going to the Heat there. I'm going to give it, what did I give it, a B-, B? I'm fine with that. Jamal Sheed here, getting drafted by the Kings, but I believe, yeah, getting rerouted to the Raptors. I'm going to give it a B- as well. I'm not the biggest Jamal Sheed fan. I do have him ranked 41st because I do think if everything else fails, he's still a good point of attack defender, and he's like an inefficient Javon Carter, right? Like, he will have a role. Like, think about how long Frank Ntilikina had a role in the NBA, and he couldn't really do anything offensively. He was an okay three-point shooter. We'll see if Jamal Sheed's going to be a okay enough three-point shooter at the NBA level. He never really had a good shooting year at Houston, but he can get to the rim. He can make his teammates involved. He's got a great college resume, but we'll see how it plays at the NBA level in Toronto, where he may get some runtime. Loved Cam Christie at 46 to the Clippers. It's going to get an A grade. Cam Christie is my 32nd ranked prospect. He fell 46. I think the value is there. I'm surprised Cam Christie fell this far into the draft. Not my biggest faller into the second round. We got one more, I think. Yeah, one big one. But yeah, I think Cam Christie has very high potential in this league, and kind of learning under Kawhi Leonard and maybe Paul George and James Harden could be really good for his development, and a good coach out there in Ty Lue. So I thought like Cam Christie was a home run pick for them. High upside. Maybe he flames out. Maybe he doesn't become efficient or has the confidence in attacking the rim. But either way, I think the risk is worth it there at 46 for the Clippers. 47, Antonio Reeves to the Orlando Magic. Just some other guys I still liked on the board. I'm going to go like a C+ here for Antonio Reeves. He's skinny. He's I feel like not going to be able to use his strength on defense, and he's 6'5", but I don't know how he's going to be on that end of the floor. 5-year college man, was fantastic last year for Kentucky. Was their best player last year for sure. Maybe I'm being kind of harsh on Antonio Reeves, but I just didn't have him that high. I had him ranked 56th. Him and Tristan Newton, 56th and 55th. I know they get compared a little bit, and we'll get to Newton in a second. I'm just a little bit lower on Antonio Reeves because I don't know if he's going to be much of a playmaker. I don't think he's going to be a great defender, but the shot could be consistent. I mean, he did shoot 45% from three last year and 51% from the field. So we'll see if that happens in New Orleans, not Orlando, sorry. 48, Harrison Ingram going to the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to give this a B-. Harrison Ingram was my 51st ranked prospect. He goes 48. I really think he's a shooter in this league. He's a really good rebounder for sure for somebody of his size, and I think he could be someone that could lock into that 3-and-D role. He's 6'8". He seems shorter when he's out there. He averaged 12 points and 8 rebounds last year for UNC. Spent a couple years at Stanford as well, first 2 years of his collegiate career, where they were relying on him to be kind of like a number one, number two. And he grew into that complementary role in UNC, complementing RJ Davis and complementing Omarendo Bacot. And he was a good three-point shooter. Great rebounder, like I said. And he is going, I believe it's to San Antonio. I mean, like, I was watching the draft, and they don't they announce like when the picks are traded, but they don't show the graphics, and they could make it a lot less confusing hopefully next year. Tristan Newton goes 49 to the Indiana Pacers. It's like a B-, C+. I think like Antonio Reeves, C+, B-, like those are fine. Newton did not test super well at the combine. Was probably one of the more like least athletic guys in this draft. He wasn't a great shooter last year. I don't think he's a great defender. Reeves is definitely better. Even though I had him ranked one spot ahead, I think like I honestly should have changed that now that I'm talking into it, because I think I just underestimated Reeves' three-point ability at the NBA level. But he's going to go in Indiana. There you have a lot of deep guards right now with McConnell and Nembhard and Ben Shepherd and obviously Tyrese Halliburton. And then they ended up with some other guys in this draft like, I don't know if he'll ever see playing time in Indiana, but you know what? It's worth the risk. And Rick Freeman, I did like as well. I don't think I had him in my sleepers. I think I'm thinking of Isaiah Crawford, but Enrique Freeman I had higher than these guys, I believe. Did I rank Enrique Freeman? Maybe I didn't. I got to watch a little bit of him after he got drafted. Maybe I just didn't rank him. What? I thought I did. I guess I didn't rank Enrique Freeman. I mean, I guess, yeah, maybe I just didn't feel comfortable ranking him. Yeah, you know what? That's it. I think I watched like 3 Akron games. It was tough to kind of dive deep into that film, but I watched a little bit of it. But after he got drafted, I watched a game last night, and I thought he was really good. I mean, I'm going to just pull up his stats again because I didn't really get to kind of remember what they were. He was a 5-year Akron man because he got the COVID eligibility year. He was pretty high percentage field goal wise, not a three-point shooter whatsoever. Yeah, I guess I got that. Good rebounder though. He's 6'7". He does play out more than that. Wow, I actually thought he was a little bit taller. Melvin Ajinka goes to the Knicks at 51, but that got rerouted to the Dallas Mavericks. There was like the funniest trade ever with like rights because the Knicks traded his draft rights to Dallas, and the Knicks got somebody that was drafted in 2007 draft rights. I don't see if somebody can inform me why you would want somebody's draft rights from 2007, let me know, because the Knicks just try to stack those up. I could get, in the near term, drafting somebody and stashing them so you don't have to pay them this year, which is interesting. So I guess they get paid by the European school and you never get paid by them. But either way, that makes sense in the near term because they're trying to shed some cap or save some money. You draft and stash now. What's the point of getting somebody's draft rights that is never going to see the light of day? I don't know. Quinton Post goes to the Golden State Warriors at 52. They traded this pick away and then reacquired it back to get Quinton Post, who they liked a ton out of Boston College. I didn't really like Quinton Post. He was my 64th ranked prospect because I didn't think there was a high enough ceiling. But Mike Dunleavy really talked a lot about him, and maybe I'm wrong about this because hearing Mike Dunleavy talk, and I respect his opinion obviously, and he seems like he's a good evaluator, drafted Podziemski last year and Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, Quinn Post, he's a Swedish man, or Netherlands man. He's from Netherlands, played a couple years at Boston College, good 3-point shooter, could space the floor. We'll see. I just thought there was limited upside, got to see him at the combine. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Cam Spencer, I haven't been grading these, have I? Sorry. Enrique Furman, I would give a B+ to. Melvin Ajinka, I honestly think that's solid value for Dallas. I would give that a B. Quinton Post, I'll give that, honestly, B-, B right now. Cam Spencer, I kind of want to give this an A. I had Cam Spencer ranked 45th, and they got him at 53rd. So, hey, I'll take that. He ends up going to the Memphis Grizzlies, which I really like that fit for Cam Spencer. I think he's going to be a really good shooter in the NBA, can play off of 2 feet. I'm a fan. Anton Watson, I did not think was going to get drafted, goes to the Boston Celtics at 54. I didn't really do a deep dive on him either, and so I didn't grade him out because I didn't think he was going to get drafted, and I was kind of shocked that he did, but over some of the other guys that went undrafted. But he was solid last year from Gonzaga, 5-year Gonzaga man. Inside scorer, honestly showed a little bit of the 3-point shot last year. We'll see how he does. I feel weird grading him because I didn't really watch too much film on him. And then here's Bronny James. Bronny, I will give an incomplete, a C. I mean, I don't think Bronny James is worth the 55th overall pick, and if his name wasn't Bronny James, he wasn't going to get drafted. But for the feel-good story of it, I would give this an A+, because LeBron James, you got to see those photos, got to play with his son, and there's photos of him when he was in his early days in Cleveland or his second Cleveland stint, and he's holding Bronny as a kid, or he's playing with Bronny in the gym, and now they're freaking teammates, and LeBron is still an elite player in the league. You know how crazy that is? That is insane. So honestly, feel good story off that. It's really cool. It's obviously nepotism. There's no arguing that, and I think people like me should not have a say in if I care or not, because I don't, and it doesn't affect me whatsoever. There's, I think, a handful of people, and I'm going to show you the people that it does affect, that I think are the only people that are allowed to get mad. The guys that went undrafted: Trey Alexander, Reese Beekman, Jalen Bridges, Isaiah Crawford, Nafali Dante, Justin Edwards, Boogie Ellis, Alan Flanagan, Trenton Flowers, PJ Hall, Keyshawn Johnson, Isaac Jones, a couple other guys are all better than Bronny James right now, and I think probably over the course of their careers, if they had the right amount of resources and attention that Bronny's going to get. But Bronny obviously got drafted by the Lakers, who wanted to make LeBron happy, and I'm all for it. It's the 55th overall pick. You know how many of those pan out? Not many, right? So you take a flyer on Bronny. Why not? It makes LeBron happy, and it's a freaking cool thing. But I think if I was one of these guys who, if Bronny wasn't in this draft or his name wasn't Bronny James, one of these guys would have had the opportunity to say they got drafted into the NBA. And they, right now, they're probably feeling kind of shitty they didn't get drafted. Obviously, if you work your ass off and you make a good rotational spot and you do the dirty work and you work hard and you just get good at a specific role for a team, and that could expand. Look at Fred VanVleet. Look at Austin Reeves. These guys are undrafted. Do you think they care that they're undrafted now? No. They made their money in the NBA. They have the spotlight, and there's guys that got drafted in the first round of those drafts, the second round, that we don't even hear from anymore. So obviously it's not the end of the world for these guys, and I think these are the only people, though, that can have a gripe with Bronny right now, just because they could have gotten drafted. They're better than Bronny, like I said, but they didn't get drafted because the Lakers had that spot for Bronny. But like I said, though, it could be two things. It could be nepotism, and you got to feel bad for the undrafted prospects. But then again, it could also be, this is pretty dope, and if my son was in this position, I would do the same exact thing, and so would all of you. So yeah, two ways to look at it. Definitely, it's a cool thing now. I will agree. I wonder what Bronny's career points will be in the NBA. Will it be over 1,000? We'll see. Definitely will need some time to develop in this league. Kevin McCullough to the Knicks at 56. What the hell happened here? A+. Oh my God. Kevin McCullough, 29th ranked prospect. He goes 56. That is insane. He's going to be a good defender right away. I know the shot is a little bit inconsistent, but hey, I think he could be a streaky enough shooter where it could be fine off the bench. And I think his help defense is great. I think he's actually a solid rim protector as well when he needs to be. Like I said, the three-point shot is very inconsistent, but he can get to the rim. He can finish inside. He can get to the foul line. I thought this was a home run pick by the New York Knicks. Ulrich Chomsky goes to the, I think this is the Raptors. Yeah, Raptors at 57. I'll give this a B. I think he's a 4-year project play. He's one of the younger guys in this draft. I did not think he should go top 35, top 40, but second to last pick in the draft, I'm all for it. And then the Knicks got Ariel Hukporti out of Germany here at 58. I didn't watch a single game on him, so I'm not going to put a grade. But he played in the NBL. Good for him. Good for him. And I hope he has a career in the NBA. So that was me grading every second round pick. You guys can let me know what you agree with or disagree with if you're watching on YouTube. And if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can let me know on Twitter as well. Now, let's get into my rapid fire free agency predictions. All right, so NBA free agency is this Sunday at 6 p.m. and we're going to see a flurry of moves go down, I think, between now and then. And then obviously 6 o'clock, then the floodgates are open. We still have some guaranteed contracts, options to get picked up, declined, and I'm excited to see what goes down here in the landscape. I will be live streaming it too on the Strush YouTube channel. So LeBron, player option, obviously either, I don't know, I'd probably predict opts out of the player option, signs a 3-year max extension with the Lakers. Paul George, big one. There's about 3 options right now. He can opt in and just extend with the Clippers. He can opt out and then sign with Philadelphia, Orlando, or sign an extension with the Clippers. But I think he would just opt in and extend, right? Get that extra year. Or he gets traded, opts in and gets traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga and Chris Paul. That's been talked about, and the Warriors are trying to get it done. My prediction, he's back with the Clippers next year. I think Kawhi's going to convince him to stay. New arena, new branding. Steve Ballmer's going to give him what he wants, and he's going to end up being a Clipper. It would be pretty dope, though, if he was on the Golden State Warriors. I think Klay's gone. I think Klay either ends up in Philadelphia or Orlando, and I'm going to predict Orlando with Malik Monk going back to Sacramento. Orlando may need some short-term shooting. They could give Klay $25 million a year for the next 2 years, like $50 million a year guaranteed, and he can't turn that down. I think Tobias Harris goes back to Detroit, where he played at one point in his career before getting traded for Blake Griffin. They need somebody that could shoot the basketball, and Tobias could be a nice stretch forward for them. I could see them giving him like a 2-year deal with a player option. Maybe a 3-year deal, fully guaranteed. I don't think it's going to be for $30 million a year. I think it could be around $18 to $22 million. I think James Harden goes back to the Clippers as well. The Clippers break the bank to keep that big 3. Gordon Hayward, I don't know where he's going, honestly. It's not back to OKC. I think Kyle Lowry could go back to Philadelphia for sure. DeMar DeRozan, I think 2 possibilities. He could end up in Philly. Maybe Kyle Lowry convinces him to go. But I do think it's more, I think what could be interesting, he could re-sign with the Bulls. Or if Paul George gets traded to the Clippers, why did I say that? If Paul George gets traded to the Warriors and Chris Paul is involved in that deal, I think the Clippers would reroute Chris Paul and maybe Terrence Mann or Seconds or Bones Highland to Chicago for DeMar DeRozan, and they'd work out a sign and trade there. I think Buddy Hield could go back to Philadelphia as well on a 1-year deal. Evan Fournier, minimum somewhere. D'Angelo Russell. I think if Orlando strikes out on Klay Thompson, he could be a Magic. There could be a scenario as well where he's in a sign and trade with for DeJounte Murray, and you get DeJounte Murray to the Lakers as well. I don't think San Antonio wants a shooting. Maybe Detroit wants the shooting as well, and he could just kind of be a 6-man, and they run a 3-guard set of Ivy, Cade, and D'Lo, and it's pretty much just Ivy and D'Lo going back and forth, and Sasser is just like the true backup 1. I think Gary Trent Jr., I don't really know where Trent or like Fultz or Bertans are going. KCP, I don't think is going back to Denver. I think KCP could also be an Orlando Magic. KCP, I think, could be a Philadelphia 76er, and I will say that, which would be a massive pickup for them. Jonas Valanciunas, I could easily see going to OKC. He could go back to New Orleans. I think if OKC gets Isaiah Hartenstein, obviously, it's not going to be Valanciunas, but if they don't get Hartenstein and he goes back to the Knicks or something like that, or if he goes to Orlando, that's been rumored, Valanciunas could be an Oklahoma City Thunder. So I'll play it safe and say he's back in New Orleans. I think Malik Beasley could be on a new team for sure. I think Tyus Jones is as good as gone. in Washington, now that they have Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Poole's there, they got drafted Bob Carrington. I think he's going to be a San Antonio Spur with his brother Trey. Any other notable ones? Let's go through. I think Nick Batum is back in Philadelphia. Let's see. Patrick Williams, I think, is back in Chicago as well. I think they realize they're in a rebuilding stage and they can give him, I think, a comfortable deal for both sides, but Pat Will can bet on himself. It could be $15 million a year for next year with a player option that he could opt out of. Isaiah Hartenstein, like I said, I don't know what the Knicks are able to do financially with the aprons involved. They drafted Pacoma Dediet in the first round. Maybe they thought he'd be a draft and stash and they didn't have to pay him. There's a way that they could dump Mitchell Robinson, maybe to OKC or maybe New Orleans or a team like that, and they could pay Isaiah Hartenstein. I'd probably put it 35% he goes back to the Knicks, 65% he leaves, and I will say he goes to the OKC Thunder. Miles Bridges, I do think, is back in Charlotte. I wouldn't be surprised about Detroit or Utah, but I will say back in Charlotte. Isaac Okoro, I think, is back in Cleveland. Obi Toppin, I don't think he's going to be back in Indiana. I know Jalen Smith won't be. The thing is, why do you want Obi Toppin back in Indiana? I know he's good for you, but don't you want to see the emergence of Jarris Walker? He's already going to be behind Pascal Siakam. He doesn't need to now compete with Obi Toppin. So I think Obi would be fun in Miami as well if they could do some type of thing, because I think Caleb Martin is leaving Miami. We got some interesting veterans too, like Russ, probably going to leave the Clippers. I thought if the Nets were just trying to stay afloat, he can go to the Nets. The Suns would be kind of cool. He goes to play with KD on a minimum there. I think Kevin Love, I don't really know where Kevin Love will be back. Maybe Miami on just a veteran minimum. Andre Drummond, I think, will be a hot commodity. He could end up on the Knicks if the Knicks lose Hartenstein. He can kind of be back in Chicago. I doubt it. Once we're starting to get some these veteran minimums, I think, are very interesting. Or these guys that are making not a lot, these veterans here, like your Pat Bev, your Derek Jones Jr., who I think will be back in Dallas. Like DeAndre Jordan, Jay Crowder, Alex Len, Cody Zeller. I do think Saddiq Bey will be an interesting one, because Saddiq Bey should be back by mid to end of the season, and that could be very valuable. He's 25 years old, good shooter. I could see Atlanta giving him a 1-year deal so he comes back, and then you just maybe hope he plays for you, or if not, you can work on a contract for the 2026 season. I think Simone Fontecchio is going back to Detroit. I could see Precious Achiuwa going back to the Knicks for sure, but honestly, a solid big man on the open market. Kelly Oubre could get paid. I think the Lakers could use his athleticism as well. Anybody else? There's got to be some guys down here. Lonnie Walker could get some money on the open market as well. Had a nice first half with the Nets last year. Who's Chris Dunn? I would love him on the Knicks. I don't think so anymore. He could go to San Antonio for some defense on the perimeter as well. I forgot they have club options in here. That's where it really just gets confusing. So that is pretty much going to wrap up my rapid fire free agency predictions. We had OG resign with the Knicks, predicted that. I would have predicted Siakam quickly. I did actually predict Claxton. I said Nets, but maybe sign and trade with the Pelicans, so I won't say I was right on that. And honestly, if I made these before Malik Monk resigned, I was not predicting him to resign with Sacramento. I thought he was going to be an Orlando Magic or a Detroit Piston or a San Antonio Spur. So that is going to wrap it up for me. Hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' Podcast, grading every second round pick, and then also some rapid fire free agency predictions before Sunday. The next episode will be out early next week, and you guys will probably get a reaction to free agency and kind of analyzing every signing there. Love you guys. Catch you on the next one. Peace.